Do you have too many peaches and not enough time to preserve them? But it's got to get done, right? Hey, what's clucking, peeps? Welcome to Harry Tail Farm. I'm Georgiana, and this chicken with us today is Winifred. These are my peach trees and how I ended up with hundreds of pounds of peaches. I'm going to show you in this video the fastest way I found to preserve a ton of peaches and a few yummy go-to recipes. Let's get started. So I've had these peach trees. I've got 2 peach trees on my little hobby farm. I've had them for about 5 years now. Can't quite remember exactly when we planted them. But this is the first year I've gotten so many peaches. I think it was an unusual year. We had a long, late winter and a longer, late, wet spring. And other trees on the property grew, especially the big one right in front of these. They're set off to the back. And it occurred to me one day, I'm like, oh no, I better go check the peach trees. It hasn't rained in a while. I probably need to go water them. And as I was walking back there, I could see better. I'm like, what's wrong with my trees? They're all hanging and drooping to the ground. And I was like, I got closer. I'm like, oh no. There were all these green little balls on the tree. That's what was weighting them down. I'm like, oh my gosh. And it was, I'll be honest, I didn't know what to do. Time got away from me. I learned later I needed to thin these sooner. Should have caught it sooner. And I didn't get that done. So there are so many on this tree, but I didn't want to just ruin anything. I just let them go. So I spent several days over a couple weeks picking a lot of peaches. One last look at you boys. Hi, Angel Softies. Camera shy. Oh, Shirley. Gonna help Mommy pick some peaches, Shirley? Alrighty, good boy. Okay. I think this is my 4th time picking peaches. Got 3 gigantic bags. They're the same grocery bags. Oh, but they are packed full. They were heavy to carry in. I must have gotten hundreds of pounds of peaches. There's still more. I call neighbors. Some is on the ground. They're just dropping off the tree now. It's September 20th, which from what I understand is late for peach trees normally. But we had a late winter and therefore a late spring, and this snuck up on me. This has never happened. The one tree, there's 2 trees out there. The one tree has 2 broken branches, so hopefully we can get those pruned properly and I manage this better next year. But I've got a lot of peaches to process. I'm going to puree a bunch, make some jam, chopping up a lot to freeze. The plus is, this is the only crop I have with I've got several chronic health conditions that I'm working on overcoming. I would like to be more of a gardener someday on my little property. But the plus is if you at least have, well, neighbors share anyways, but I feel happy to have enough to share with neighbors and family. My neighbor brought this over last night. I've got a yellow squash. That's my 3rd delicata squash she gave me, which I really enjoy the texture. So I'll have to cook some up for you guys in a recipe. See what it's like. It's just beautiful roasted. And pears off of her tree. Everybody's having some bumper crops this year, which is good off of the fruit trees because with food prices what they are and inflation is insane and the day job not getting any market increases for this whole last 3 years, it gets tough. So the plus is you get a little bit more bounty when you get to have something to share too, which is nice. But my sister brought over too she's been bringing over extra kale, older green beans, but I'm a fan of pureeing all sorts of stuff. And peas, so they're the larger peas. Again, those would be good at soups and stews, stuff we can cook down. End of the year, we got some stuff to process and food to cook or freeze, but I'm excited. So now it's time to get processing, the fun part. So once you've pureed a bunch of peaches, I've added about 8 cups approximately to this pan or pot, and then about 2 cups of sugar. So sort of a 4-to-1 ratio. You could adjust the size based off of how many peaches you've got. I did this batch size about 8 cups to 2. So go ahead and boil this for about 10 to 15 minutes till the sauce thickens a bit, stirring occasionally, and I use a spoon to skim some of the foam off the top so there isn't as much, but it does settle after it's all ready to go. And once you've sterilized your jars, your canning jars, have your funnel ready, just have your supplies ready to go once the peaches are done, and go ahead and pour them in. And I end up getting almost 6 jars. I thought I'd get 6 full jars, but these are 1-pint jars, so 2 cups each, and got 5 1/4. And it's all set ready to go. I gave it a hot water bath so they could be sealed and last a good long time. So our next recipe is making a peach BBQ sauce. For this, I used 2 cups of unsweetened pureed peaches, again with the skin on. And from here, I will also have the full recipe for you down in the description. But we're going to add a 1/4 cup of molasses. And I'm making this recipe up as I'm showing and filming it for you right now. So I went through and added more amounts as I went. It's not all on camera here. So the final measurements I'm giving to you now, and they'll also be in the description. So after you've added your molasses, add a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. From there, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of sugar. You can use white or brown sugar, whichever you have on hand. After that, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of ketchup. And you're going to give it a good stir. I've got the temperature on, trying to get it up to boiling. But of course, with each ingredient, it cools it down a bit, so it's going to start boiling in a bit. Then we're going to add some seasonings. Add about 2 teaspoons of onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic salt, blending as you go. Also going to add about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce? Does anybody really know how to say that word? I usually like to make fun of it and say it all sorts of crazy ways. Worcestershire sauce. From there, we're also going to add 2 teaspoons of yellow mustard. If you don't have either of these, the Worcestershire sauce or the yellow mustard, it just adds an extra depth of flavor, but you could also make this without. So don't worry about that. Go ahead and stir that in. And we're going to boil over medium-high heat, stirring occasionally until the sauce thickens. It's usually about 15 to 20 minutes. The next yummy recipe is peach coffee cake. I made this recipe up with using whole grain. I use both oat flour and wheat flour, and it's got 50% less sugar and 50% less fat. Sorry, I did not get the dry ingredients filmed. Being really busy and kind of cooking and filming on the fly, missed some stuff. So let's go ahead and jump in. I will have the full recipe down in the description box below. The ingredients are here on the screen right here for the dry ingredients. I also decided to add some pumpkin pie spice. I don't know why it's used just in the fall season. This stuff is great year round, especially when you have a lot on hand. This is a great recipe to add it to. So I end up adding about 2 tablespoons of pumpkin pie spice. I've also added a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. So although there's Truvia in here, there's also some brown sugar, so it's 50% less sugar. And from here, we're going to go ahead and mix in our wet ingredients. I have 2 cups of pureed peaches, again with the skin on and unsweetened. The recipe does have calling for 2 large eggs, so I did not have any. My girls aren't laying right now. My neighbor had given me some quail eggs, so I end up using 6 quail eggs. So that guesstimating that average is about 2 large eggs. When you're doing this, and there's also a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil in here. So you're going to blend this in with your dry ingredients. And keep in mind, like I said, I'm making these recipes up. You're actually getting filmed as I'm making them up. And you're sort of just looking for a consistency. You've got your leavening agents, and that's why I showed you the way the batter looks. Just sort of for that cake batter consistency. So go ahead and pour that into a greased 9x13 pan. And from there, I added about a 1/4 cup of quick oats to the top. So this is going to have a nice little topping. And from there, we're going to also add about 1/8 of a cup. We're going to just sprinkle on a little bit of brown sugar to get the nice, flavorful, crispy little topping to the cake. So it makes a great, kind of good old-fashioned coffee cake. So a wonderful addition to breakfast or a snack or dessert throughout the day. From here, you're going to bake your cake at 350 degrees for about 35 to 40 minutes. This is what it looks like when it's all done. I already started serving some up. Everybody wanted to eat some. Golden brown and delicious, rich, flavorful cake. But again, whole grain, 50% less sugar, at least 50% less fat. So it's a nice, healthy addition. So I created a chicken diary workbook for me to be more organized and hopefully not have problems like I did with the peach trees next year or in the future, and to be more organized outside of my farming and planning and yard work and everything like that. It's a fun little book. The picture on the front is Wheezy's coop. That's what I call it. Wheezy, Laverne, and Mabel are the ones living in the coop right now. And it's a really fun book. I'm going to have a link in the description box below. I have this available in my Amazon store if you want to get a copy for yourself. It's fun for planning and organizing all your outdoor stuff. You can also get a free link. There's a free link to my meal planner and day planner in one in the description box below also. And that can help you plan weekly meals. Plus, with each weekly meal planner, there's 7 days for a day planner. So you get that download below if you're interested. I'm really working on being more organized when there's always so much to do and we're super busy. I know it can help us all get a lot more done if we time block things or organize or have a fun way of planning it out. And I think both of these chicken diaries and planners are a fun way to plan. So happy cooking, everybody. Thanks for joining and watching my video. And see you in the next one. Bye-bye.